Hi drummers, happy well, right, time signatures. I get asked about this all the time, like what is a time signature, how does it work? So the following video is a video response I recorded for one of my monthly members, monthly supporters, Brian Wilson, not the guy from the Beach Boys, I don't think. And the way it works is that my monthly members, they can send me questions and I'll record them a personal video response and send it back to them. He asked about time signatures. I'm actually, because on that video I said all the things I would just say in a video anyway, he very kindly agreed that I could put this video up on the main channel. So Brian's question was, can you please do a video for me explaining different time signatures and how you count them? Used to playing 4/4 and how to count quarter notes, 8th and 16th notes within that. But I don't know how to spot or count any others, any other time signatures. So this was the response I gave him. So hopefully this is useful. This covers the concepts of 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 6/8, 9/8, 12/8, simple time versus compound time, all that kind of stuff, and the things that I get asked about the most. Any other questions about it, let me know. It's a really awesome thing to spend your time thinking about, and just absolutely dynamite in terms of if you can, get this stuff in your system. It's just so helpful, I think, in my opinion, as a musician, as a drummer. Thanks a million, and here it comes.
Hey Brian, hope you're well, man. So thanks a million for your message about time signatures and 4/4 and going beyond 4/4. This is a big one, honestly. This is a huge topic, so I'll try and sum up as many useful things as I can in a sort of short response. So the time signature is giving you information about the pulse in the music. I think there's lots of misconceptions about it. It's nothing to do with the tempo. The overall tempo is, the speed. The time signature tells you about the pulse in the music, like how many beats there are in each bar, so how the music is felt, how it's counted, that kind of stuff. Now in 4/4, well, in all cases with time signatures, the top number is how many beats are in the bar, and the bottom number is what type of beat, or like what note value basically constitutes one beat. So you need to be on top of note values here, so quarter notes, 8th notes, 16th notes in particular. The bottom number, let's start with that first, because that's the one that people get most confused about. Again, it's the type of note that represents one beat. So basically it means if it's a 4 on the bottom, it means the pulse is quarter notes. If it's an 8 on the bottom, the pulse is 8th notes. And if it's a 16, the pulse is 16th notes or semiquavers. The top number is just the number of beats in the bar. So in your 4/4 simple example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 beats in total. That's the top number. And the bottom number tells you that each beat is a crotchet. So that's a super simple example, and it's often known as common time, right? Because it's the most common type of beat. For each time signature that I talk about here, I'm going to demonstrate what it would sound like as a little pattern played on the snare drum, or like a typical pattern in that time signature, and then also play like a drum groove and fill type of thing as well. I think they're both helpful. In the Trinity drum grades, the regular Trinity drum grades, so not rock and pop, but the Trinity College London grades, there's part of the test, part of the exam, which is identifying the time signature. So I'll kind of draw on that quite a bit as well. So I'll play something in 4/4. Now, the big thing, another misconception with this is because it's the pulse of the music, the sort of skeleton of it, the structure of it is the scaffolding of it, if you like, is 4 crotchet beats. That doesn't mean you're literally only playing 4 crotchet beats. It just means that's the predominant pulse, right? So if we're in 4/4, something like this on the snare drum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, you're not necessarily playing exactly 4 crotchet beats. That's the pulse, that's the structure, the framework of the music. In the Trinity grades, again, in the time signature test, what they do is they do exactly what I was doing there, play an accent like on the first beat each time. So I'll do that when I'm playing, which hopefully will make it helpful. Obviously in groove form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, drum fill, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on in that fashion that you understand already. So let's take a different one. 3/4. Well, the bottom number 4 here we're still crotchets, and the quavers within those crotchets, or the 8th notes within those quarter notes, have a 1 and 2 and 3 and feel. So the quavers are evenly spaced out, regular. I'm going to play you a little bit of snare drum action in 3/4 here. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. There I'm accenting beat 1. It's very distinctively got 3 beats to the bar, that one, right? When you play a groove in 3/4, there's loads of different ways of doing it. Probably the the all-time classic is to play like a straight eights type of feel, like you would in 4/4, but instead of going kick, snare on the 4 quarter notes, something like kick, snare, snare, because obviously you haven't got 4 beats to play with. So 1, 2, 3, kick, snare, snare. Here's a little groove and fill in 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Getting it? 1, 2, do a drum fill. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 2, 3. So when you're playing like groove and fill stuff in 3/4, once you got the hang of like kick, snare, snare, I mean you can experiment with that, but that's like a good solid groove to work with. The fills are probably the trickiest bit, because if you've played lots of 4/4 with most guys and girls, instinctively, like the drum fill, they go but bum 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 bum. That's how it gets hardwired into us playing in 4. So yeah, just taking a quarter note off that. 1, 2, 3, 1. I've actually got a YouTube video called something like how to play drum fills in 3/4. You might want to have a look at that one. But that's the basic idea with 3/4. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. 3 crotchet beats as the pulse, and typically as a groove, kick, snare, snare. So in 2/4, I'll play you something on the snare drum in 2/4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. So the feel is very much like 4/4, isn't it? The main reason it would be 2/4 rather than 4/4 is the music is emphasizing in a big way as an obvious beat 1 accent every 2 crotchet beats, basically. So that might be what the drums are playing, and it might well be that and or what the other musicians are playing in the band, right? So if the guitar phrase is but it might be kind of a big accent like on the beat every 2 crotchet beats, right? Every 2 quarter notes. That's why it'd be 2/4. But it's probably not worth massively getting hung up on the difference between 2/4 and 4/4, because oftentimes there isn't like always one concrete answer as to like what the timing is. Sometimes 2/4, 4/4 can kind of blur together a little bit. But yeah, in the simple snare drum example, what you've got is an accent on the beat, right? 1 as the first beat of the bar. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that accent makes the musical phrase like 2 beats long rather than 4. So that's what we call simple time. And the 3 most common examples probably there: 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4. Like I said, that bottom number being 4 means every beat is a quarter note, and within those quarter notes, the 8th notes just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and or however many beats there are on the bar. That's the big thing with simple time. Bottom number 4, and whatever the top number is, the 8th notes within those quarter notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so you could take any example, another one would be like 5/4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So however many beats you put in the bar, we're not inherently like changing the feel there. It's just quarter notes is the pulse in the music, and when you do play 8th notes, like quarter notes again is the overall feel, but when you play quarter notes, when you play 8th notes within that, then you're going to play them as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and then regular 8th notes evenly spaced out. So that's simple time, right? The other thing is compound time. Now in compound time, the pulse running through the music is a triplety pulse. If you come across triplets before, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, like the word cucumber, right? Cucumber, 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 cucumber. And that triplety pulse is the main feel of the music. So we're talking here about blues, that kind of rolling triplety feel. The compound time signatures you'd meet in the first like 4 grades for Trinity would be 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. So we'll talk about that now. So long story short, when the bottom number is 4, you're in simple time, and the feel of the music is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And when you, or however many beats in the bar there are, when the bottom number is 8, the feel of the music is triplety. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So it's a difference between the bottom number being 4, simple time, the 8th notes counted as coffee, 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 coffee. In compound time, when the bottom number is 8, the feel of the 8th notes is cucumber, 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 cucumber. Now, the really cool thing with this is, if you think of simple time, 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4, each of those simple time signatures has a compound time equivalent. Let's take 4/4, and I'll play something again in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we take the same basic pulse in the music, those 4 emphasized beats, but the eighth notes within them are now triplety. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. We're then in 12/8. And that's because they are the 12 eighth notes, right? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're the 12 eighth notes in 12/8. This is now compound time. I'll play something for you in 12/8. 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you have that kind of lovely rolling triplety feel. And it always boils down to the 2 questions you need to ask yourself when you're listening to the music are what's the basic pulse? How many beats are there in the bar? So is in this case 4. And then the second question, which comes in at like grade 3 onwards, is are the eighth notes within it straight 1 and 2 and coffee, coffee, in which case you'd be in 4/4, or are the eighth notes rolling in triplety, in which case you'd be in 12/8. I'll play something on the kit now in 12/8. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do a drum fill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3. So your classic sort of bluesy groove with that rolling triplet feel would be in 12/8. Hopefully that's making a bit of sense. Now, if you think of, let's go to 3/4 for a second, 3 beats in the bar. The compound time equivalent of the simple time 3/4 would be 9/8. And that's because you've now, instead of playing on each of those 3 beats, each of those 3 quarter note beats, instead of playing eighth notes that sound like coffee, 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 1 and 2 and 3 and, in 9/8, we're now playing triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, and they're your 9 eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to play you something here in 9/8. So 3 emphasized beats in the bar, but we're in compound time. In a music dictionary, that would be described as having a dotted quarter note pulse, which means each quarter note is now worth 3 eighth notes instead of the usual 2. So here we are. I'll play something for you in 9/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I now play something on the kit in the compound time of 9/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, That's a lovely feel. You get that kind of 3 in the bar, but with the undercurrent of triplety eighth notes. So whenever it's got a triplety feel, you're in compound time, the bottom number will be 8. Whenever it's got a straight eighth notes type of feel, the bottom number will be 4, and you'll be in simple time. Last one I'll do, 6/8. So this is really similar. This is the compound time equivalent of 2/4. So let me recap the whole lot. 4/4 and 12/8 are the simple time and compound time equivalents of each other. In 4/4, the quarter notes have a straight eighth note pulse underneath, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And in 12/8, the quarter notes have a triplety eighth note pulse underneath, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 4/4 and 12/8, the simple time and compound time equivalents. You then have 3/4 and 9/8 in the same way, simple time, compound time equivalents. And lastly, we talked about 2/4. So the equivalent compound time would be 6/8. So something in 2/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Something in 6/8, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 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 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or as a groove, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, drum fill, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. People often ask what's the difference between 6/8 and 12/8. Well, the same difference as 2/4 and 4/4, and that's that the musical phrase in 6/8 is done after 6 beats. So in the case of a groove, say that you're playing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Can you see how the musical phrase there is done after 6 beats, right? It starts to loop again. It resolves, as we say, after 6 beats. Whereas if you play this, which would be in 12/8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because of the kick and the snare part there, it takes 12 full eighth notes before it resolves again. So that just comes down to how long the musical phrase is. Hope this is all making a bit of sense. I think that would be a pretty good place to leave it. If you can wrap your head around that stuff, that's a seriously good start. So top number tells you the number of beats in the bar. Bottom number tells you the note value of each beat. Beyond that, you've got the concepts of simple time and compound time. In simple time, where the bottom number is always 4, the eighth notes within it are played as straight eighths, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and in the case of 4/4. With compound time, in the case of 12/8, which is the compound equivalent of 4/4, the eighth notes within the pulse are played as triplets, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If this is not all crystal clear, that's fine. I think the thing to do is just work with it for a bit, read around it a little bit. Hopefully this will get you started thinking about it. And any questions, give us a shout. But that sums up, to me, after lots of years of explaining this to people and working with it, and bearing in mind the questions people ask at various points along the line of explaining it, that's the best explanation, I think, when you're first getting started. Cool, Brian. So thanks so much, man, for the membership and for the question. And I'll see you soon, man. All the best. Cheers.